What's up, everybody? How you doing? How's your world going? I thought we might talk about some things and stuff today. Um, Maybe we'll talk about aeroplanes and ships, all sorts of weird stuff. I don't know. We'll see what we get into. I did just watch a video on. I think it's called the Jet Man or something. This is a guy that built a tiny airplane. There's only like three of them in the world, apparently. I don't know. This could be old news. I don't know. I didn't research it that in depth. I just got to the point of okay, there was him, then there was an airplane, and there was somebody filming it. And so the questions were like, oh, who's filming that? And they're like, well, there's only three in the world, and this guy invented it. And so it's an airplane strapped to his back. And so I was like, well, I wonder how fast this thing is going. This was a question that I had. So I figured I would do a cursory research into this idea of how fast can this guy go with his wings on his back. Is there a jet on there? What's going on? Apparently, if he just jumps out of wherever he is, he jumps out of a plane to use this thing, and he can get going about 180 miles per hour going down, and he gets into flights. And apparently, this is I did not do too much research, but the little bit that I did was saying he was going about 110 miles per hour. I don't know if you guys know how fast that is in comparison to an Airbus A380. One of the biggest airplanes in the world. I think they stopped manufacturing that. I used to work at an airport, so kind of familiar with some of these airplanes. Anyways, airplanes tend to have a cruising speed 500 to 600 miles per hour, which is about what 900 kilometers an hour, somewhere around there. I don't know. So 500. Usually, there's a speed at which you cruise. It's cruising altitude and cruising speed. And if you go apparently if you go too slow, it can just drop out of the sky, and you know what I'm saying. And it could go up to like I don't know, it could go like Mach 10. I don't know, getting about Mach 10. I don't know how fast it can go, but nonetheless, this plane apparently was speeding at the exact same rate of speed as this guy going 110 miles an hour because he's not going any faster. He's got no turbo booster, anything. It's just a plane. Just looks like an airplane, but it's him. It's on him, and he's just flying along right beside it for a very long period of time. Which means this plane, a commercial plane that should be going about 500 miles per hour, is clearly not going 500 miles per hour. Clearly not. It was about 10. So that begs a whole litany of questions about the entire industry, which I've fully unveiled to you before. What are aeroplanes? Why do they call them planes? I wonder what a plane means. Doesn't a plane mean but what's going on in an airplane? Air across the plane, horizons, all this. That's one thing that maybe this doesn't beg that question, but it does a little bit in the sense that what are airplanes run on? You think it's jet fuel? You think those big giant turbines, those a jet stream, a jet stream, a jet engine, compressed air. You think it's running on combustion? You think there's those wings there? They're filled with aluminum, and if you ever seen the inside of the wing, the way it's built, the inside of the wing. It's all aluminum, and there's nothing there to hold the gasoline that would eat through all sorts of things. There's no gas in those things the way you think that you've been told. You ever see those how floppy they are? You ever see a bird hit a aeroplane? It will just break it. You ever seen? There's no gas. There's no fuel in those wings. It's nonsense. Just like F1 cars. If you understood what the how do you think these things are really running? And furthermore, uh, that's a furthering question. That's actually a larger question to be asked. Why are they going that? How is that thing going 110 miles an hour? Unless he sped up to 130, ooh, maybe I don't know. How is it going that slow? And why would it be going that slow? What is the purpose? To alter our perception of how far distance things are, how expensive things should be. I mean, obviously, if it's not running on gas, I mean, how much should it be costing? How long could that airplane really stay in the sky? Indefinitely? I don't know. Perhaps. Now we have a few other questions like, okay, so if they're not going as fast as they say, I mean, I've lived and worked at airports. I see how fast the planes are going when they're landing, and even around the airport. They're going nowhere near the speed that they tell you. Even if you look in the sky, oh, that's just your vantage point and the angle of. They're nowhere going that rate of speed. So it's either they're going slower, so the space is a little different. You realize, like, if you look at a map and something says it's a mile from here to here, you know how they measure that? They have to measure it because there's this thing where the roads, there's an incline and a declination. So they're measuring that. You understand? So a mile from here to there, just straight across, is this far. But a mile on land, because all this is about this far. You see that? 1 mile is 5,280 feet. But if I go up by 3 degrees, it's a triangle. You see, that's 10 inches. This is 12 inches. So now I spent an extra 2 inches, and then I have to go back down. You see how that works? So the idea of how fast and how far things are, our perception based on maps. Maps are not the menu. Maps are not the landscape. The menu is not the meal. That kind of thing. Maps and menus are not the meal or the landscape. So we're often fooled by how far something is, time it takes to get somewhere, and furthermore, just the idea of how fast are they traveling, and what would be the purpose? Why wouldn't they get you there as soon as possible? I mean, in reality, there's some places you could go if you just jumped in your car and drove there. You'd be there in about the same amount of time it would take you to go to the airport, get up, go to the airport, drop your car off, get your baggage, go sit in the terminal, wait, board the plane, get up in the air, get down, get out of the plane, go rent a car. You've spent the exact same amount of time as you would if you just drove. Not all places, but this is a real thing. And why? Well, the beginning and the tail end and the front end of the journey are taking up quite a bit of time, and they're not going the speed they're telling. What is the purpose of this? Come on, everybody's got to know this. I mean, they're not trying to make things easier. They're not trying to give you access to as far and as cheap as it should be. Everything is planned obsolescence, more difficulties, more money. If you want to go fast and get somewhere, well, you better have your own private jet where they're actually going to travel at the rate of speed that they could, and maybe you'll get within earshot of somebody that's flying a plane that tells you, yeah, you know that horizon thing, and if you get in the cockpit, you look around and how there's no that thing that where how the ball works, and you don't look down. It's all just infinite flat plane thing. Yeah, they might tell you that, and they also might tell you how much fuel you're really consuming on that flight and how far you could really go. I'm not saying all planes don't use. I'm not saying they don't use any fuel. I'm not saying there's not. There's not saying that. But if you understand how compressed air works, what do you need? What when you compress air? Have you ever used an air compressor? And what happens when you're in the air? You have compressed air, and you're flying through the air, and this turbine's going. Can't it just recycle and compress more air? As that jet's going, what's going behind it? There's a lot of pressure that you can compress more air to go into a secondary system, compressing air, putting the compression back into the system. Everything that works. If you go down this way, if you point your nose down on an airplane, you're getting even more speed, more compression of air, and then there you go, back off into the. You don't think that's how it works? Sure, that's not how it works. See, this is just I've come to these conclusions because there's some obvious, faults and nonsense and chicanery and BS and what we're told about how things work. And if you just observe it, you come to realize these things. And I'm under no, like if you work for the airline, you're not allowed to divulge this information. It's like if you're part of a club, you sign up and you go, well, here's what you cannot. You want to be part of this? You want to make a lot of money and do this thing? This is what you cannot do. You go, okay. How do you think it works? You think they're allowed to? Get with the program, yeah. That's why. Why do you think in societies they always do this? You cannot say. There's certain things you cannot divulge and say. It's part of your contract. See, and some of us here's proof. No one's out to fucking murk me. No one's gonna kill me because I just came to the conclusion. Nobody, I'm not on anybody's team. I didn't sign up for any clubs and whatever. Some people have, and they can't say. They'll just nod and go. They can say things certain ways, but they cannot say so. It's against their club, their committee, their organization. Now, anybody that does say the kind of shit that I'm saying, they're just looked at as fools, idiots. Well, you don't know what you're talking about. How would you know that? And what else would they say? That's all they can say. and if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. So what? I'm a fool. I'm an idiot. Oh, I have snacks coming. So you guys give me a few minutes here. I have to go collect my snacks at the door. You guys enjoy this music and give some consideration to what's going on with fuel consumption of cars even. And why did cars in the 1930s, 40s, 50s, 60s get the same amount of fuel consumption as in the 90s, 2000, 2010s? What, between 18 and 35 miles a gallon? It's always been going on. They couldn't improve the engines. What's going on here? So here, listen to this music. I'll be right back.
I never blew my chances. My style is classic, static. You want the beat, I got it.
Oh, there I am. Let me just eat this food. This will be a short show here, and hopefully you got something out of it. But we'll continue on in round two. I'll come back in a little bit. But I have this. I haven't eaten in days. I've been fasting. Now I got some delicious Indian food, and I'm very stoked to consume it. So I'm gonna eat, and you guys come join me on the other side. Good to see everybody here now. Give some contemplation to what I said. You might find some interesting things that spur other thoughts in your mind. Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, all that if you want to help support me eating this, because this was a gift. So you know, buy me a beer or whatever. Remember the rules in life. Enjoy yourself. It's your experience. Be weird. Share when you can. And I'll talk to you guys and maybe give me like half an hour, I guess. Toodles.